All right, we're continuing on talking about these New York City buildings and the interesting symbology over all of them, including all over the world. We're told they're Greco-Romano style architecture. Um, I guess we can assume the symbology comes from the Roman symbolism, but as we all know now, there are serious questions about where all these came from, who built them, who lived in them, because it doesn't seem that we did, based on what we're building these days. These guys clearly had a high level of artistic style. It's almost like it was a whole nother culture, civilization. This is what we're investigating. So continuing on, more buildings, more of their symbols, the fleur-de-lis, we know we've seen that everywhere. The flower in the circle, the columns. This was a cool building I found while walking around Columbia University in Manhattan. This looks very old, or redone, or what's it doing here? I mean, more importantly, the huge arch, the massive keystone. You see this a lot in these Upper West Side buildings. This is very reminiscent of a boat part, a bow, maybe. Um, we know the maritime symbology and the whole Phoenician connection here. You know, this is what we're looking into. Up here seems they forgot to clean these. Another thing I've been thinking of is how all these buildings are covered in a black layer of soot. Um, all of them. A lot of them are cleaned, redone, but you can still see the black layer all over the world, honestly. If you start looking closely, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's probably in your city and town too. This was a monument up there too, Upper West Side by Columbia. There's a few of these. You tell me what this is. You know, I think it's looks like a memorial, and then they have Grant's tomb is up here. I don't know if I got the picture, but when you look at whatever's inside here, uh, you may have questions like I do. All the symbols, the open wings, the pine cone type, pineal gland, whatever this is representing. So here's a better shot or another shot. This symbol with the cross is one of their symbols. It's important. Um, this also is everywhere. We'll see better versions of that. The waves are everywhere. What you may not notice is alongside these waves is either fire, smoke, dust, something. I wonder if it represents, the reset or whatever the hell is going on here. And in here is what I was saying. There's metal work in here, more of the symbols. I don't know. This was next to that thing. Looks just like a big flagpole, I guess, but is it? Is it? This looks like a fasces, in case you've looked into that. It's pretty fascinating. This is in front of that memorial, and it's clearly a symbol representing what? We don't know. I think it has something to do with their power. We'll see more. Another version, another angle of that front door. You can see the waves I was talking about. And in between here, there's fire. Maybe it represents the destructions, the flood. And here's that symbol, this metal heavy door. Another symbol with the cross, which I think represents their power somehow, whatever grid power they were using. More of that. Spoken about this. There's just more buildings from this whole area. They're pretty fascinating, amazing. Just the striping, I think it's represented, has something to do with their power. Buildings that were turned on or emitting or producing power or something is denoted by this striped motif. And there's a few different versions of the stripe, which we'll talk about. Again, these are not big blocks or anything. It's a facade. It's just a cover-up of a brick building. These are not blocks, huge blocks of massive stones. Another example, a lot of these buildings, their entranceways are these elaborate, ornate. It could be a version of the dome, the firmament, the system we're in symbolically. It always has the pillars, you can see. And then there's symbols. In this case, what do we have? We have the falling flowers, which almost look like bells, too. We've seen this in buildings all over the world. The wrought iron is also a pretty big deal. We'll be talking about that. The designs in the wrought iron. And more of these curved bow-like. Always coming off the bow is either the leaves, the acanthus leaves or whatever they are, or, you know, the flowers, but it's spinning off stuff, which we're trying to figure out what they're talking about. Here we have fasces, the blank plaque, the random face, Phoenician, whoever it is. Continue. And a wrought iron whole situation here. And also, you know, this was an interesting building around the same area. We have the stripes. We've seen this stuff in churches, this style. I've seen a few things described where it could have heat pipes. They could be piping out something or had to do with ventilation, though this is outside, so I don't know how that would work. Looks like something could be coming out of here. Here you see the diamond, this motif, the diamond moving along, it looks like a thing, is everywhere. Whatever this diamond represents is very important. It's everywhere. Not just on this building, on all these buildings, in one way or another. I think it may represent the ether or their power, whatever. It's the Red House, that's what it's called. Pretty crazy looking building. Again, the diamond, it's moving along something. It's conducting. Conducting what? Then we have their fancy little symbols, their little mysteries. The diamond is behind it. See? We have a dragon, a crown. I'm sure some of these things mean specific things that people know about. I'm just speculating. And clearly there's a mystery with this stuff that we're trying to uncover. Along with the diamonds moving along, they also have circles moving along, rectangular shapes, we'll see. Just another ornate entrance to just an apartment building, really. What we think is or is currently being used as an apartment building. I think when they renovate over the years or whatever, they just keep whatever of this old stuff they can. Here's an example of the circle. Fleur-de-lis, the usual. It's another kind of style. There's a lot of buildings built in this kind of brown style too. Again, I'm sure there's an architectural term and history behind it. Up here, we have the whole copper situation on all these buildings, roofs. I think it has something to do with their power too. If they were using free or atmospheric electricity that was running in the sky, then Copper conducts electricity, for all I know. So if it's drawing it in, storing it, conducting it, etc. Copper always has their symbols on it too. They're power related. They're all their symbols, all the usual. There's a little diamond. You'll find them everywhere. Another pick of that. Again, these are all just buildings on the Upper West Side. I mean, you tell me who was living here, 100 years ago. A lot of these buildings also have bomb shelters, meaning they go very deep underground. So-called nuclear bomb shelters. A lot of these buildings, all in this area in the Upper West Side, which means they go very deep into the ground. As far as we know about what buildings, can be nuclear shelters. Another curious fact here. Another symbol they use, this kind of wheel flower kind of thing. A lot of these buildings, even if they've done renovations and they make them look very normal, you can see a lot of the stuff is left up here. It's left up top. And it's just crazy. It's the most ornate, fancy stuff you've seen on a building. Why? What is it there? No one even knows what these things mean anymore. They don't even notice they're even there. I had to start looking. And I'm sure a lot of you, once you start looking, you're like, what the hell are we looking at? What's going on here? This coffin or boat-shaped symbol is also everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere. Maybe it's a Phoenician boat. Who knows? We need to start looking at what these things are and what they mean. This is my little contribution. I've been watching the videos for a few years now. The mud flood, the reset, all the guys, they're doing amazing. I've been fascinated. See? All this stuff is all the way up here. That's how they built these buildings? Strange. Nothing wrong with the fancy building, but, what's going on? The flowers, the curves, these curves are everywhere. You'll see those in railings, and I feel like you'll see those on boats. It's just wood, like the bow, etc. The coffin. We may have some griffins in there. The lions, the pots. We've trying to figure out what's going on here. This building could be anywhere. Anywhere in the world. This building could be in Italy, in Rome, especially. It's just another random building you'll just walk right by in Manhattan, at least in this area, Upper West Side. And I'll be doing other parts of Manhattan, and they all have crazy looking buildings like this. This is probably a church or something, whatever it was designated as. More of their symbols. Looks like we have opposing angels here. The columns, of course. The portholes, whatever the hell these things are for. And again, the keystone with the leaf and the bow or whatever that is. Look at this massive building. Look up here. Really? The practicality of building all this crap at the top of the building is just, I don't know. I don't get it. All right. Again, not blocks of stone facade on a brick building made to look like blocks. More of the symbols. Again, the coffin or the boat, whatever this is. Another random dude. These people are just on buildings, just randomly. We don't know who they are. I mean, I don't know who they are. If you know who they are, tell me. This I think I tried to see because they were doing work, so I wanted to see if like it was like a mud flood building and the bricks continued going down because it looks like they pulled up a little the sidewalk here. So this is the entrance. You can see there's already all this space going into the so-called, repurposed entrance. And there's the brick. I mean, I guess we'd expect it to go further down, but, this whole thing is a mystery. Another version. Oh yeah, see, here was the brick, more brick. There's a hole here, obviously, brick. More of their symbols. There's the diamond again with the leaf in it. Diamond. You look up, you see the diamond. What does it mean? What are they saying? What does it represent? This building had the plaque with an H. Is in all the plaques on this building. H is one of the ones I saw. JP is another one I saw. Looks like they knocked it out of here. Another version. The lions. The boat things. Oh look, the diamond. The plaques, the empty plaques or whatever this is, the shells. Another one. I mean, ignore this. This was clearly built on, after. But we can see what's the original. There we go. Falling fruit. The keystone with the 3 pieces. You see that everywhere. And there's more, and they have a bunch of different versions of it. The columns. All right, let's stop for now. We'll come back with another one. Just keep going on and on and on. All right?